Hi everybody, this is John here for Human Potential.
Hi, good morning. I'm Joni.
So we're going to just continue on with sort of my journey. Um, Human Potential is all about the exploration of self and the discovery. Now, a while back, I've talked about this before in past videos, how I sort of had this life-changing sort of revelation, I guess, if you would say. Now, as a child, I always thought I was different. And I just sort of knew things before they were going to happen. Um, so I definitely am psychic or intuitive, whatever you want to call it. But this concept of life just never made sense to me, right? And I was somebody who always felt sort of different, felt alone, felt like out of the ordinary. Um, you know, I never quite fit in, right? You know what I mean?
I do. I know what you mean.
I know a lot of people feel this way. So that's why this whole thing, and it's basically like, so when you realize that, God got us all that is a lot different than what you originally thought it was. It's kind of like finding the cure for cancer, right? Again, we're not doctors. We're not, any medical advice. Always do your own research. Even in spirituality, always, ask yourself, does this ring true to you? But one of the things that I've discovered along the way here, and we're going to get into deep, deep spirituality and deep essence of humanity and being the love of self. But one of the things that has guided me here is one of the biggest issues with health, despite what everybody says, it's inflammation, right? Inflammation is like one of the biggest keys,
Yes.
you know, and foods that cause inflammation.
Right. Wasn't that many years ago, people didn't really know that much about what inflammation was or what it does to you.
So, and I'm going to disagree with that. I'm going to say that they've always known about this, okay? But their job is not to get you healthy.
Right.
Their job is to keep you sick. Why? Because sick is profit. Sick is profit.
Absolutely.
Cancer is profit. Being sick is profit.
Therapies, pharmaceuticals, all that from the ground up, it's all profit.
Right.
Would you need any of it if you were well? No.
Right. Bypass surgery, profit. Foods we eat have a direct impact on our health. Without question, food has an impact on our health. Diet, gut inflammation, gut issues, directly related to health, right? It's kind of like, we're going to get into this topic too another time, but it's like finances, right? Imagine if you were taught finances, real finances in high school, right? Growing up, like real education, talking about finance and how you could, at age 13, or your parents start putting things away for you. By the time you're 65, you're a millionaire. They don't want you to be a millionaire. Why not? Because you're not relying on them anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing with healthcare and sickness. They want you sick. Sick is profit. Now, these people are scumbags. They are absolute scumbags because they're all about profit. Now, here's the thing. When I say that, I need you to understand something here. I'm just simply calling out the truth. I'm not belittling them. It's like if someone says, hey, you're an asshole, okay? If they say you're an asshole, how do you take that?
Well, I would ask why, for one thing. I know most people would take that as an insult, but I'd want to know why. Why are they calling me that? And then I would evaluate the answer before I can determine if, in fact, I am an asshole.
Right. It's like, they don't, how you take something is how you take it. It doesn't necessarily mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's not true. But it's simply how you take it, how you absorb the information.
Right. It's a judgment call. It's just like good or bad. what's good for one isn't necessarily good for another. So it's a judgment call.
Right. So when someone says, hey, you're an asshole, you could go, am I? What did I do? What makes you say that? So you can either take it personally and go, you, whatever, and go back at them, or you can simply go, okay, why? And evaluate it. Because it's an opportunity to grow. It's an opportunity to learn about self. It's an opportunity to understand self, right? And that's what we're all about, really.
Right. And that being said, it's not that you're opposed to profit per se. People go into business to make profit, but it's the way in which you get that profit, right?
Right. That's a different. Right.
Yeah,
that's different. Right.
That's a whole different
But being
thing.
called that name and then how you take it, it's really up to you. So when I say these people are scumbags, they are scumbags. They may not know they're scumbags, but their job is really profit, 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 profit. And again, we're not talking about profit is bad. We're not talking capitalism is bad. We're not talking that at all. Making money is good. Money is just a form of energy. It's just, that's all it is.
It's exchange.
It's exchange.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you want to make your money? Do you want to make it on the backs of others? Do you want to make it helping humanity? Do you want to make it lying and cheating and stealing humanity, right?
Right.
You can choose your own path. I guarantee 100% to you that they will come to this realization either in this lifetime or when they pass and see their life review and go, wow. And they're going to realize that we're all one. And no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, no matter how you strive, you could believe us, not believe me, really makes no difference. You will understand one day that we are all connected, that we are all one. And that's just a reality of life. All things are connected at a cellular level. In essence, there's only one cell. That's it. And it's God, Goddess, all that is, infinite wisdom, love, energy, whatever you want, terminology, whatever you want to call it. That's the reality of it. But the truth is, getting back to the original topic of inflammation and food, I've been doing this a long time, and spirituality a long time. Because when I had this revelation, I had to find out who I was. I asked this question, who am I, who's God, what am I, what is God? And it took me on this journey that's been incredible, difficult at times, incredibly difficult. It's been, one marriage ago. I lost my first marriage because, we kind of grew and went separate directions. But when I had this sort of life-changing event, nothing was important to me other than finding out who I was, who God was, what the universe was, all that. I had all these billion questions go through my head in a blink of an eye, and I had to find answers. And nothing was important to me other than finding out those answers. And that's why we created this channel, because we want to extend this knowledge and have you guys just make up your own minds, and maybe you ask your own questions, and maybe it leads you to your own journey and your own exploration of self, right? But the one thing I can tell you with utmost certainty, because I've been working out forever, right? Mm-hmm. You've been working out forever.
Yes.
What's the number one thing that's really affected your health? Food.
Not the working out, it's the food.
Food. You can't outwork a bad diet, right?
Right.
And I'm telling you, I've trained forever and ate crap and never lost weight. It wasn't until I actually had a life-changing event which caused my bypass surgery, where I went basically no sugars, no alcohol. Now, am I saying I never drink alcohol? You can induce it back. You can re-induce it back into your life. I wouldn't do it a lot personally. It's your choice. It doesn't make me feel good eating lots of sugar. I don't eat sugar at all ever. But sugar, yuck, makes me feel crappy. So I just don't do it.
Right.
Right. But it isn't until I made a lifestyle adjustment to my dietary habits where I started to lose the weight. And I know people say, it's about being insulin resistance. People say, I can't lose weight. I do everything I do. Bull crap. It's how you're eating. It's food. You can lie to I lied to myself, right? Mm-hmm. We lie to ourselves all the time.
All the time.
Right?
We kind of try to bargain, Well, if I eat this cookie or this cake or whatever, all I had to do is get on the elliptical for 20 minutes and it'll be good. No.
And we're not saying these things are bad, so don't misinterpret. We don't want guilt associated with food. We're not saying these things are bad. We're saying you choose for yourself what you feel like. Maybe in moderation. Some people call it moderation. I choose to just eliminate it. I eliminated all that stuff and I lost 65 pounds. And I didn't really work out other than walking, right? That'll be another topic because I think walking is one of the best forms of exercise you could do. And I'm talking just a moderate, right?
Moderate pace, yeah.
Mile, 2 mile, 3 miles, you're just walking. That's all you're doing. Start with 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes. It doesn't matter what you do. Just start with something, right?
Right. Whatever you can do.
But what I did was I started taking responsibility for my own health, right? You got to be an advocate for yourself.
In a nutshell right there.
Because they don't want you to be healthy. They will not give you this advice. And I'm not saying doctors are bad. You got to look for a good doctor because there are good ones out there.
Right.
But most, they just don't care. They don't have the time, or they've been beat down in the system through the insurance garbage that they have to deal with and claims and all that crap, that they just kind of given up and they just, I don't care, whatever. And they just really write scripts all day long. There's some doctors who do this and they never even look at you. Oh, okay, all right. Well, here we go. Here, take that, go to the pharmacy. And you're then out of there in 15 minutes and they never even looked at you.
Right.
Right?
Right. Let alone look at your body or anything.
Right.
They don't even look at your face.
So I'm not saying doctors are bad. Find a good one. But the people who make the food, they know what they're doing. They know it's addictive. Mm-hmm. They know the chemicals. They know all that stuff. And there's stuff in America food that's illegal in Europe.
The chemists that they hire to make the food addictive and make it appealing to the palate to make you want to eat it over and over again, knowing full well that it's harmful.
And that's the thing. You got to understand the brain doesn't know anything. The brain only knows what you put in it. Like when you're born, other than cellular memory, which is there, that is a true thing. There is cellular memory. But the brain, it really reacts to what you put in it. Mm-hmm. Positive thoughts, not positive thoughts. Healthy or unhealthy food, right?
Right.
So it loves sugar. It loves that stuff, right? Because
it feels
good.
habitual.
It becomes habitual. That's what being addictive is.
Right.
And they know these things. That's why they know these things. Now, again, I'm not saying this so you go, oh, they're scumbags and focus on that. No. That's not what we're about. Understanding the issue and then realizing that, okay, it's not their fault. It's on us to make our own choices and our own decisions. And how we change reality, change our lives, just our singular lives, is our choices.
Right.
So we can sit and say, oh, they're scumbags. Or we can go, okay, they've been lying to me all this time.
Think of how empowering that is.
Right.
It's quite empowering. No matter what's going on around you, you are still your sole
advocate.
Yes, advocate. You decide for you, and that's it, period. So you can blame it on something or someone or a whole industry or whatever. But bottom line is it's you.
It's bottom line, it's you. It always has been you. And we need to stop looking outward and look inward and look at ourselves.
Right.
I guarantee it's going to be more beneficial to you. So I'm not saying that, they're scumbags to focus on their scumbags. That's not what we're saying. It's basically an alcoholic who says, okay, I'm an alcoholic, right? Yeah, you recognize the issue, you recognize the problem, and now we don't continue to focus on that problem. Now we go about making adjustments to our lifestyle to help correct these issues.
Right.
And so it's like, okay,
and it may take time. It may take
right.
It may take starting with something small and working toward, a greater a greater reality, but that's okay. Whatever you can do.
Right. And it's like time or linear space. Here's the reality. I love it when people say, I want to make changes. Okay, the truth of the matter is you've already made the changes. There's you here in the physical world and there's you here in the etheric world. The etheric world is the perfected self. This already exists. This is already there. It's waiting for you. It wants you to be healthy, happy, love of self. It's ultimate perfect love. This is the physical self filled with guilt, unpositive emotions, maybe life beat us down. This is the physical self. It's not real. The etheric self is pure love. This is the real. The real you is here. Okay? And what you're doing here in the physical world is letting go of the guilt, the displeasure, the unpositive feelings. You're discarding those. And as you discard those, you become more aware of the perfect self that has always been and will always be perfect and is there for you. It has not ever left you. Not one day in your life has this perfected self ever left you. You can call it God, Goddess, all that is, whatever you want to call it, ultimate good, loving energy. But so what we do is when we stop looking at all these issues as negative, and we start looking at them as, okay, they just are. So there's guilt. Okay, that just is. Don't look at it like, oh my God. And so, okay, it just is. Let's correct the thought process. What made this? And so now we go about, we recognize it. We don't say, oh God, this is so bad. I wasted so many years. I don't know that. We can do that. You can live in that reality. You'll never get to this, or it will take you a long time to get to this.
Right.
Or we can just recognize what is here in the physical, right? And then we move into this. And that's really why, when I say, well, they're scumbags, look, their goal is to keep you sick. Keeping you sick makes them lots of money, okay? Being perfect, healthy, and happy,
Yeah.
that helps the whole world. That helps humanity. That helps the wholeness create this perfected self, and we all transition into this wonderful, loving. That doesn't mean, again, this is where people get crazy because they go, oh, utopia. That doesn't mean that you still don't go out in your garden and plant food. That still doesn't mean that you can't get in your car and go for a drive. You still live life. It's just you're living life in a different sort of thought process. You're living it from not the head space, but the heart space. It's a loving, wonderful, beautiful, rainbowish what you're living in, right?
Yeah, I like that.
That's why we're not saying
the heart space. That's good.
Yeah, and there's a big difference because like the brain loves the same thing. It doesn't like change. The heart loves change. When you go through change, okay, like here's a great example. So like let's say you haven't exercised for a long time. You haven't moved for a long time. And then you say, I'm going to get a treadmill and get on the treadmill. It's going to suck. You're going to get on that treadmill for a while, right? Mm-hmm. And then you're going to go, well, this blows. Because the brain doesn't like it. The heart's going, this is good for me. I like it, right?
Right.
But the brain's going, what
are you doing?
Yeah, this sucks. I love sitting and watching TV.
Right.
Right? The hardest thing is getting through this, right? Because for so many years, this has been fed
the same thing day after day.
And it loves it. It loves it. The heart doesn't. The heart wants positive, loving, wants to love ourselves, wants to show you that perfect. The heart wants to come out and go, this is the real you. Beautiful, loving, wonderful human being. A spiritual person, right? That's what the heart wants to do. It wants to come out and show you this beautiful, loving, wonderful being that has always and will always be there. You'll see it when you pass away, right?
Right.
But you don't have to pass away to see it. You can see it right now in this lifetime, right? And so that's why we tell you they want to make you sick because that's their ultimate goal. But, okay, now that we know that, knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
right? And so knowledge is power, and now we can use that knowledge to make changes,
Right.
to go in a different direction, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, your first husband passed away of a massive heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
You went through a period of depression.
Yeah, I sure did.
What made you come out of that depression?
Well, I did allow myself to feel that.
Right.
You know, I just think everybody has to go through it. But I realized that I go on, life goes on. I need to take one step in front of the other, and that's what I did.
You had to make a choice.
Yes, absolutely.
How hard was that choice to get yourself out of that?
At times, very hard. It was difficult. I just wanted to stay there. It's easier to wallow in it than it is to step out of it and say, okay, you know, start moving forward. You know, no matter how you feel, start moving forward. You know, things will change, and they did. Slowly but surely, they did.
And of course, you met the wonderful Peter, that is me.
I did.
The PETA, I call it, the pain in the ass, that is me. But, yeah, so it is difficult. So it's okay. You're going to go through that, right?
Right. Right. It's okay. You have to allow it. It's just it's part of life.
But once you start to make the steps, it gets easier and easier and easier and easier as you go through it. So for me, yeah, was it hard to give up sugar and alcohol while others were eating sugar and alcohol around me socially? Yeah, it takes a tremendous amount of strength and willpower. But I kept telling myself, okay, so, I had an issue here. I had a bypass, as I talked about, but I needed to make lifestyle changes. And working out just wasn't good enough. I needed to change how I ate food, how I thought of food. And I realized, okay, so is the food making me sick, or the types of foods causing inflammation that is making me sick, right?
Right.
And I realized that inflammation is a huge, huge part of why we are ill. And when you remove inflammatory foods, we remove that, I would say that alkalinity, or what's it called, acidic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we remove that sort of unpositive feeling because our inflammation drops. Then insulin sensitivity. I started learning about insulin resistance and insulin sensitivity.
Right.
And I realized, okay, so I'm insulin resistant. So no matter what I did, it was very difficult to lose weight. So once I became metabolically stable, I can now introduce something back in small quantities because I can now process it.
Right. But I've noticed that even though you allow yourself small things, you don't enjoy it as much as you used to.
No.
And you'll do it every once in a great while, but even after you do it, you say, I don't think I'm going to do that anymore.
Yeah, you think you're going to miss it.
I've witnessed you make these changes, and it's become part of your life, which is awesome.
You think you're going to miss it. Like, oh God, I've never had it. I had a donut forever. You think you're going to, you really don't. You just don't. You just really don't. You don't really choose to really want it. You go, oh, it looks good. Not really.
I know. I've seen you make that change. It's pretty incredible, really.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how it is. But
it's taken a little while, but it has happened.
Yep.
So that's good.
It has. It has. And the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. So
yeah, but in the beginning, you'll think, oh, this will never be. I'll never be able to. Because when I do that, I've made a lot of changes to my diet, but I still eat sugar. I still eat some. I love certain things, and I still eat them. And I think to myself, well, if I give this up, I think about how it's going to make me feel.
But you metabolically were never really that bad. I was 215 pounds, and now I'm 170.
Right.
Right. So I've actually,
You're more like 165 right now.
Well, Yeah, 165, 170, I fluctuate, and, I'll show you my workout protocols too. We'll get into that. I use bands, and I'm going to get some, so I keep the strength. I'm starting to, build up the muscle again after surgery. But, so I hope this helps, kind of gives you some hope. And, again, we don't want to focus on, what these people are, or what we just want to recognize it and then move past it, and then create certain thought process and reprogram our minds into this different sort of lifestyle, and then that change affects others and others and others. And that's the reason why I like there's a lot of channels out there: positive thoughts, positive deeds, positive action. Right? Think it, be it, believe it, achieve it. Because once you find the cure for cancer, you want to spread the news. You want to spread the word, right?
Absolutely.
And so you can focus on the cancer, or you can focus on how to correct or how to change, right? And that how to change is how we correct and fix everything around us.
Right.
It's by moving forward in a positive sort of, healthier manner for ourselves. And that's not to say, well, this is unhealthy. Things are not healthy or unhealthy. They just are. So it's just a matter of how we look at them and then how we can adjust. And by adjusting, we then feel better. And feeling better is kind of what the key is all about, right?
100%, yeah.
But there's no question about it. Food is our healing mechanism. It is the number one thing that we really can do to help change our lives, change our reality. It also helps changes our mindset. And then we start to work on ourselves mentally, physically, spiritually, all these realities. So, guys, please, thank you for listening. Hit that like, share, subscribe. We want to grow this channel and grow the community of human potential to where everybody can see themselves as the great being that they already are, that already exists. So, any final words?
No, I think that should cover it for today.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day. And you know what? Always love yourself for who you are. You are perfect. Thank you.